Dear viewers, let me start with a number, rupees 1 lakh. That's it, that's the crime, that's the original sin. A farmer in Chandrapur borrows 1 lakh rupees to survive a bad season. 4 years later, that 1 lakh has mutated into rupees 74 lakh. And in between, the system watches quietly as he loses his land, his tractor, his dignity, and finally a part of his body. On October 14, 2024, Roshan Sadashiv Kude, a 36-year-old farmer from Minthur village, lies on an operating table in Cambodia. Not for a life-saving transplant, not to save a loved one, but to sell his kidney. To pay a debt created not by bad decisions, but by a system designed to break people like him. Pause there for a second. A farmer from Vidarbha travels across countries to sell an organ because Maharashtra could not protect him from loan sharks. If this doesn't shake you, nothing will. And here is the thing, this is not a freak story. This is not a one-off tragedy. This is the logical end of a system that has normalized rural suffering and turned desperation into a business model. Hello, I am Tejas and you're watching On a Stake on Lokmat Times. In this video, let's break down the tragic story of Roshan Kude, a Maharashtra farmer who had to sell off his kidney to repay his debt to private moneylenders. But before we dive in, you know the drill. Please do subscribe to Lokmat Times if you haven't already and press the bell icon to never miss an update. Roshan owns 4 acres of land. He is not a corporate farmer. He is not a speculator. He is exactly the kind of farmer our politicians love to invoke in speeches. Annadata, the food giver. In 2021, after repeated crop failures and erratic rainfall, Roshan does what lakhs of farmers do every year. He borrows money to stay afloat. Rupees 1 lakh from a private moneylender in Brahmapuri. The interest rate 40% per month. Let that sink in. Not per year, per month. This is not lending, this is slow execution. He repays, or at least he thinks he does. The lender claims the principal is still pending, forces him to borrow from another lender, then another and another. 6 money lenders, 1 farmer. By January 2022, Roshan has borrowed rupees 12.25 lakh in total. Over the next 2 years, he pays back rupees 48.53 lakh. Most people would call that settlement. The lenders call it insufficient. The final demand, rupees 74 lakh. This is not accounting, this is extortion with calculators. When Roshan can't pay, the system doesn't step in. The police don't knock. The revenue department doesn't intervene. The state does not notice. The moneylenders do. They come to his house again and again. They beat him, threaten his family, lock him up, force him to sign documents under duress, slap penalties of rupees 5,000 per day for delay. He sells 2 acres of his land, then his tractor, then household items, then gold jewelry, then borrows from relatives. Nothing works because in this system, the debt is designed to never end. It's a treadmill powered by fear. And when Roshan finally says, I have nothing left to sell, one of the money lenders gives him an idea. Sell your kidney. Let that sentence burn. This is where we stop pretending this is just about illegal lending. This is organized crime feeding on rural despair. Roshan searches online. That's how modern exploitation works. Not in dark alleys, on the internet. He connects with a doctor from Chennai. Tests happen in Kolkata. An agent arranges travel. And finally, Cambodia. A country that has quietly become a hub for illegal organ transplants fed by poor bodies from across South Asia. On October 14, 2024, his kidney is removed. He is paid 8 lakh. 8 against a demand of 74. And even after that, the harassment does not stop. For 4 months after his surgery, Roshan goes to the police. He says he has been threatened, that he was forced to sell an organ, that there is an international racket involved. Nothing happens. No FIR, no protection, no urgency. The system that failed him once fails him again. Only in December 2025, after media outrage, do arrests happen. 6 money lenders picked up. Headlines follow. Statements get issued. But here is the uncomfortable question. Where was the state when this farmer was bleeding, literally and financially? In the first 3 months of 2025, 767 farmers died by suicide in Maharashtra, 1 every 3 hours. Vidarbha leads the chart again, the same region we have been addressing for decades. the same speeches, the same packages, the same empty promises. We love counting dead farmers. It's neat, it fits in press notes. What we don't count are farmers like Roshan, those who don't die but are dismantled piece by piece. Let's be clear, this kidney was not sold because Roshan was irresponsible. It was sold because institutional credit does not reach people when they need it most. Kisan credit cards exist on paper. NABARD loans exist in brochures. PM Kisan gives rupees 2000 every few months, which does not even cover fertilizer costs anymore. When crisis hits between sowing and harvest, banks shut their doors. Moneylenders open theirs with knives hidden behind smiles. And the state knows this. It has laws. The Maharashtra Money Lending Act exists. Licensing is mandatory. Records are supposed to be maintained. But enforcement is weak by design because cracking down on local moneylenders also means upsetting local power structures, vote banks, middlemen, familiar faces. So the state looks away. Let's talk about policing. Roshan says he approached the police in November 2024 after his kidney was removed, after his body was violated, after he crossed borders to survive. Nothing happened. 4 months of silence. That silence is not procedural delay, it is a choice. The law wakes up only when outrage becomes inconvenient. Until then, suffering is tolerated. And now, after arrest, the investigation talks about international organ trafficking, about doctors, agents, networks. Good, necessary, but don't miss the core truth. None of this would have happened if the first crime had been stopped. Illegal lending, predatory interest, coercion. We chase the symptoms while protecting the disease. Today, Roshan says if he doesn't get justice, he will self-immolate outside Mantralaya. Read that again. A man who already sold his kidney is threatening to burn himself alive to be heard. That's not a protest, that's an indictment. What kind of democracy forces its farmers to choose between organs and fire? What kind of governance allows survival to become a crime scene? We love celebrating ease of doing business, but there is no ease of surviving as a small farmer in this country. Only pressure, only debt, only silence. And when the body becomes the last asset, the system does not even blink. It adjusts. Not that a farmer sold his kidney, but that the system made it feel inevitable. Not that moneylenders exploited him, but that they did it openly for years. Not that police acted late, but that they could afford to. This is not about one man. This is about a structure that extracts until nothing is left and then asks why people break. So the next time you hear a politician talk about farmer welfare, remember Roshan on that operating table in Cambodia. Remember that rupees 1 lakh loan and ask yourself a simple question. If this is survival, then what does collapse even look like? This is Honest Take with me, Tejas. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and never stop asking tough questions.